Hi everyone. Other guys on YouTube say that $500 to $600 buys you an entry-level stereo system. I say that's a big chunk out of a normal person's paycheck, and it should sound awesome as is and not tease you into wanting something better when you can afford more. Here are 7 open secrets of hi-fi audio. Do these 7 things and you'll get true audiophile sound quality from a relatively less expensive system. The 7 secrets apply to any price level, but the affordable components that I'm showing here as examples are all that you need to put together a system that sounds amazing. For open secret number 1, let's talk speakers. There's no such thing as a perfect speaker, even if you pay this much. Every speaker design is a bundle of compromises. These NUMI BS5 speakers are really excellent, especially for their price. But a small speaker like this has to work really hard to deliver a convincing bass response, and the distortion rises sharply at lower frequencies. This doesn't just affect the bass, but can cause a loss of clarity in the mid-range too, and limits the amount of power that your system can deliver. The solution is to divert the low bass to a powered subwoofer before it gets to the small speakers. The system will play much louder with a clearer, more natural sound if you do this right. I'm using a Dayton Audio Sub 800 subwoofer in this system, which offers excellent audio quality for its price, but I know Dayton Audio is hard to get outside the US, so I'll list some good alternatives in the description. Using a subwoofer means that you also need secret number 2, which is to use a high-pass filter. This type of filter cuts out the lowest bass frequencies for the main speakers and keeps the output to the subwoofer unfiltered. This is the right way to do a subwoofer output on an amplifier. Unfortunately, most stereo amplifiers send the exact same signal to the main speakers as the subwoofer. It's cheaper to do it that way, but it doesn't solve the distortion problem. This amplifier, the Duke Audio A5, is unique in its price range because it has a high-pass filter. There's a filter adjustment control on the front panel. This control lets you set the filter to get the very best from your speakers. There are other good reasons for choosing this particular amp, but the high-pass filter is the clincher for this system. Open secret number 3 is how to set the subwoofer controls. For a smooth transition between the speakers, it's important to set the crossover to the same value for the subwoofer and the main speakers. Subwoofers have markings around their crossover dials to guide you, but this Duke Audio amplifier doesn't. To overcome this pretty glaring omission, I got out my test gear, and here are the results of my measurements. For this system and most small bookshelf speakers, I recommend setting the crossover to 100, which has the crossover knob on this amp pointing directly at the bottom corner of the D in Duke Audio. And here are the corresponding subwoofer settings for the Dayton Audio subwoofer. Set the crossover control first and then adjust the left-hand knob, which is the level control. You set this level control by ear for a clear but not overpowering bass response. There's also a 2-position phase switch, which needs to be set by ear after the other controls are set. You're listening for the most natural bass sound. Music with an acoustic bass or a piano is best for making this selection. Secret number 4 is put a sock in your speakers. Yes, you heard that right. The ports in bookshelf speakers are there to get the best possible bass response from a small speaker. This is good design practice when the speaker isn't being held by a subwoofer, but the trade-off is that you can hear the sound from inside a speaker, which sounds kind of boxy like you'd expect. If you don't believe me, here is the sound I got when I put a microphone inside the speaker. With the ports open, this bad sound gets out into the room. Since we have a subwoofer and don't need the extended bass, we can clean up the sound by plugging up the ports. You can buy foam plugs for this, but old socks from your odd sock drawer work just fine. Plugging up the ports also means that the speakers are less sensitive to positioning close to walls and corners, and in these cases, plugging the ports can be worth trying even without a subwoofer. Secret number 5 is good speaker positioning. For best results, the speakers should be at least 5 feet apart and more than 2 feet from any walls. They're best placed on sturdy metal stands with the tops of the speakers at ear level. That ideal positioning may just not be possible in your room, but because we're using a high-pass filter and plugging the ports, it's okay to place the speakers on shelves or hang them on the wall. Open audio secret number 6 is to just dump Bluetooth. Compare Bluetooth directly to other music sources through really good speakers, and you'll hear for yourself that Bluetooth sound is limp and lifeless. That's because the music is compressed to make it possible to transmit over a radio link that was designed for phone calls. To graduate from Bluetooth, you can use your home's Wi-Fi network to play your favorite music apps from your phone in a much higher quality uncompressed form. To get the same convenience and compatibility as Bluetooth, Apple built a system called AirPlay into their iPhones, and Google offers Chromecast in Android. For compatibility with any app on any phone, like you get with Bluetooth, you'll need a Wi-Fi music streamer that has both AirPlay and Chromecast. This Audiophile LP10 is a new product that's the lowest priced Wi-Fi streamer that has both Apple AirPlay and Chromecast. As a bonus, it also includes a remote control, which is great if you're using it with a mini amp or an old vintage receiver that doesn't have its own remote. There was one confusing step in the setup of the LP10 that I'm going to clear up for you now. When you download and open Audiophile Setup app, which is called Go Control, you get this screen. It says it's searching for your device, but the catch is it's not searching for your new device, only ones that you may have previously set up. To get it to find your new LP10, you need to touch the plus sign at the top of the screen. After that, it'll search and find your new device, and you can click on that and start the setup. From this point, the app will guide you through the very easy, straightforward next steps. The last open secret, number 7, is a big one, and that is add a better DAC. The DAC is the component that decodes the streaming signal into the actual music waveform. Just about every audio playing device like TVs, phones and Bluetooth speakers have a DAC built in. The generic DACs that you find in those kinds of devices are made by the tens of millions and cost pennies. They're fine for devices with tiny speakers, but on a good stereo system, their limitations are much more obvious. The LP10 receives the music exactly as it was mastered, but the benefit will be minimal if the DAC that decodes that transmission was designed for a boombox. Fortunately, with the Audiophile LP10, it's easy to bypass the internal DAC using its optical output. One standout DAC in terms of value and performance that works really well with the LP10 is the SMSL SU1. It may seem like a wild extravagance to spend $90 on a component that you already have built in for free, but a good DAC really will make all your other equipment sound better. With the SU1 DAC, you'll experience a sound that's much closer to live music than you thought was possible in your home. What I mean by that is you'll hear textures in the sound that you never heard before, and individual instruments and vocals will be distinct and separate instead of blurred together. By choosing carefully and setting up properly, you'll get a stereo system that you'll be happy with for many years or even decades. If you like this video, give me a thumbs up and subscribe. If you buy anything from the product links in the description, it doesn't cost you any more, but a small commission helps to support this channel and is very much appreciated. Thanks for watching, everyone.